Honestly, Resident Evil 4 was already such a classic that we would have been just happy to play it over again with some slick new visuals. But thanks to some hands-on with the game, we now know that the remake is bringing way more to the table. So here's a quick breakdown of the new ways it will be terrifying you when Resident Evil 4 arrives on Xbox on March 24th. Resident Evil 4 is a game which pretty much keeps you in fight or flight mode at all times. And when running isn't an option, you're going to really appreciate the remake's new combat system. Firstly, as with the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3, you'll be able to move and shoot at the same time, making combat a much more agile affair. In fact, our limber new Leon has even tightened up his pretty tasty roundhouse kick for knocking down dazed enemies with. You can also tap right trigger to stab them on the way down too, just to be sure.
Leon's trusty knife was a mainstay of the original game, but it's gonna be a whole lot trustier this time round. You can now ready it as you approach an enemy, allowing you to block incoming melee attacks, or even pull off a well-timed parry to open them up for a deadly counter. Just don't go swinging it about willy-nilly though, because the knife now has its own durability meter, and if it breaks, well, you'll need to find a merchant to fix it for you, which is kind of a problem if there's a dude with a chainsaw running after you. Oh, and another handy addition is that each of the directions on the D-pad can now have 2 weapons assigned to it, making it much easier to rapidly switch between them. Also very useful in that aforementioned chainsaw dude scenario. Now, as an elite government agent and zombie-killing Superman, Leon Kennedy has learned another high-level technique: crouching. Okay, it might not sound like much, but the ability to crouch opens up loads of new gameplay possibilities for the Resident Evil 4 remake. As well as letting you duck under obstacles without bonking your noggin, crouching makes you harder to detect, allowing you to sneak up on your enemies to pull off one-shot stealth kills or leave some major damage on mini-bosses like the Garrador.
This stealthy approach will also go nicely with one of the game's brand new weapons, known as the Bolt Thrower, which lets you silently take out enemies from afar. Basically, your man Leon is looking a whole lot more dangerous this time around. While it's obviously still telling the same basic story as the original, Resident Evil 4 will be adding more meat to those bones with a more fleshed out tale. In the game's opening narration, Leon once again recounts the events of Resident Evil 2, explaining how the government ultimately ended up bombing the whole of Raccoon City to stop the T-virus from spreading further. It's pretty grim stuff.
This time around though, our hero seems notably more shaken by what went down. He also mentions that he's actually been forced into working for the government, and he doesn't exactly seem too happy about that either. All told, it looks like Resident Evil 4's story is going to be a lot more emotionally charged, with a much more complex version of its protagonist leading the way. Speaking of the game's story, you'll once again be on a mission to rescue the president's daughter, Ashley Graham. However, this time around, she is a much more active participant in the process. You can signal to her to stick close to you if you're trying to sneak through a dangerous area unnoticed, or even to hang back and keep a distance if you reckon it's time to start swinging. Some scenarios will even see her going off on her own to unlock doors and generally contribute to the whole "let's not get eaten by zombies" operation.
Should you fail at your job as first daughter babysitter and let an enemy grab her, and hey, we all make mistakes, you'll also have a chance to shoot them down before it's too late. If you're the sort of gamer that likes to get off the beaten path and do some exploring, you'll be pleased to discover that Resident Evil 4 now has a bunch of new areas for you to check out. From derelict buildings to shady woods, these areas give the game a great chance to further crank up the atmosphere and show off its gorgeous new lighting effects. Whether you're poking about by torchlight or experiencing the various new weather effects, it always makes for an eerie, highly immersive experience. And with the ray tracing effects available on Xbox Series X, it's really going to make your skin crawl.
Not only is Leon's attaché case a stylish, smart casual accessory that goes with almost any outfit, but it's also the key to Resident Evil 4's inventory system, allowing you to cart about a bunch of useful stuff like grenades and medical supplies.
With the remake, you'll be able to purchase different types of attaché cases, some of which offer passive bonuses like increased ammo drops. And you can also pick up charms, which, on top of making your chosen case look that much cuter, add in their own little perks. Tailor your case just right, and not only will you up your odds of survival, you'll also look good doing it. Resident Evil 4 was already pretty much universally agreed to be one of the greatest horror games ever made. So with all the sweet new stuff the remake is adding in, March 24th is looking like a pretty fantastic day for us all. Tell us what you're most looking forward to down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!